Yes.
What's going on with your outfit right now?
I mean, I have clothes on. I also have a blanket wrapped around me because I'm freezing.
What's the temperature outside right now?
About 107.
We have the AC cranked up so much apparently that she's like wrapped up in a blanket. Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, I just finished photographing like over 100 t-shirts and I was trying to get it done like fast and I did pretty good time, but by the end I was like, is the air conditioning even working? I feel hot. And Vicky's over here like, oh, oh.
Nope. It's not hot. It's freezing.
What's happening, everybody? It is Sunday. This is our Sunday live show. I don't know if we have anybody new here, but if you are new, I'm Katie. This is Vicky, aka Victoria, when she wants to be taken very seriously.
Not today. Today I'm just Vicky.
Aka, I don't know, blanket burrito lady.
Yep.
Aka my wife. Mm-hmm. Aka, I don't know what else. A million things.
I guess. I've been called worse things.
Anyway, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the show. Good to see you all here. Yeah, it's been quite the last few days, I think. And my question for you is, do you even source, bro?
Bruh.
Do you even source, bro? What have you been doing the last 3 days in a row?
Sourcing.
No, specifically.
Going to the bins.
What's going on at the bins right now?
It's summertime, so it's a bunch of kids.
It's all the kids.
It's all the baby t-shirt bros.
All the kids are there.
All the baby bros.
Actually, I will say, maybe this is because it's so... Actually, I think you always say it's a swamp cooler in there. I think it's AC. There's no way that they were keeping it that cool.
Unless they replaced it. It was a swamp cooler.
Okay.
It hasn't been too hot in there. And it's actually not that bad. The kids are good. I mean, don't get me wrong. We joke about it. I hate when it's crowded no matter what. But honestly, the kids are all good. They're all respectful. I mean, I think if I had a teenager that loved to do this when she was a teenager, I would have loved to have my kids spend the whole day at a Goodwill digging through some other people's crap, right?
Some of these kids are there like 7 days a week during the summertime.
Yeah. They've got a hustle on. A lot of them buy for themselves, but a lot of them are buying to learn and flip stuff too. I don't know where they're flipping. Probably on Instagram and stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
But because they're technically none of them are not none, but most of them are not old enough to legally have any type of account in their own names.
Well, so. I will say, like we did our big, pretty big buys in Dallas, and then I had done a big buy online. At one point I had like over 400 pieces I needed to get through, and I finally listed all of those. So I hadn't been to the bins in forever. And then I just bought a big lot off of our friend Jen. So it's like I still don't really need to go to the bins. So I hadn't been there forever. But you really wanted me to go with you. And I was like, oh, there's going to be so many kids there. And really, I don't know if there's just like less of the other regulars or what. But I didn't feel like it was more crowded. There were definitely a higher concentration of Utes.
Today it was pretty quiet. I went today by myself, and today it wasn't too bad at all, actually. It was pretty... Sundays are pretty slow there anyway, though. I think people do more things on Sundays, like, especially the younger kids. They're probably doing things like family stuff or maybe going to church or I don't know, but...
Family stuff. Gross. Anyway, it was good. And I actually, I only went 2 of the 3 days that you went. And actually the first day that we went, I found some really cool stuff. So I was not disappointed in going at all.
I hadn't sourced in months.
But, yeah. And then you were like, oh, I wish I could just keep getting more like big bulk buys. And, whenever we go to the bins, really, I found a couple of really cool things that normally I wouldn't be able to get if I'm just doing bulk buys. So I'm glad about it. But there is the trade-off of it. It's like you went 3 days, and is that enough for you for the whole week?
It's pretty close.
Cutting it close.
I've got to go through it all, yeah.
But still, it's close. Like it's 3 days of going and 3 days of getting up early to an alarm clock. And I mean, we get up early anyway, but when it's like an alarm clock telling you what to do, it makes you mad.
Getting
makes
up
you grumpy.
At 6 versus 7 is where, the alarm clock makes me grumpy.
So that part of it, it's like the trade-off. I mean, we're super, super fortunate that we have a great bins here. And it's like, I go through phases where I'm going every day because I've been doing some big buys, I haven't needed to. But I think we are super fortunate. Plus, just the networking that we've done. Like we've got people who are pick up stuff for us, and but now you're kind of stuck in a spot where you have to go to the bins because you are out of your last bulk buys. So I don't know. What are you guys doing for sourcing? Let us know in the chat. For those of you who are watching this after the fact, let us know in the summertime. I mean, what are your sourcing options right now? What are you doing? How are you getting your stuff? How are you keeping on top of things?
For me, it's either the bins or bulk buys from other sellers that know what I want and don't sell it themselves. So for me, that's that. I don't really do thrift stores. Thrift stores are just obviously we have a lot of resellers here in Vegas, and somehow we still all manage to make a living. But our thrift stores, and I'm sure you've seen it elsewhere as well, our thrift stores are just very, very oversaturated and overpriced. So, it's an occasional stop. We'll make it a thrift store and pick up, a couple of things here and there.
Mostly just for variety.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because we have such a good bins here, it's like there's not really any good justification for going to thrift stores other than we're just bored and we wanted to try something different, because we can go to the bins for an hour and a half and we're spending like $1 an item as opposed to minimum $5.
Yep.
So it's like, so we're just lucky that we have that option. We know not everybody has that. But I'm doing bulk buys from people across the country. I'm doing bulk buys on selling platforms. Like there's always a bunch of options. You just kind of have to keep on top of it and always be looking for new ways to bring stuff in.
So Karen says she sources out of her house. We could source it or out of her house too if we lived closer. Yeah, Lori, I'm definitely ready for the stuff when you have time. I'm finally all caught up. Alexis, happy Pride, my friend. This is the last day of Pride Month. I was looking at my memories, and we were in San Francisco with Alexis at Pride with eBay in 2018, was it? Or 2019?
2019.
And I was came up in my memories, all of our pictures from that event, and that was so much fun. So yeah, it's been a good time. It's been the month of June is it's Pride all the time, and the month of June is when it is recognized and the struggle is recognized. And so happy Pride to those of you that celebrate. And
indeed,
yeah, hope you had a good month.
She's got lots of vintage dresses.
Ooh,
about 30 items.
All right, cool, 30's pretty good. Cool. 30's pretty good.
The Pride Parade is today. That does seem late.
It does seem a little bit late, but it was as well when we did it in 2019. That's why I said it came up in my memories.
I don't remember.
It was exactly 5 years ago when we were there.
All right, cool. Anyway, so we've been, we're back to having to figure out sourcing and stuff. Like I said, I just finished up. I got 2 big boxes of stuff from our friend Jen earlier this week. And I've already gone through and photographed almost all of it. I think the only things I have left over are some stuff that needs to be like treated and bleached and stuff like that. But I was able to wash everything else just kind of normally. And so now I've got like over 100 items that are going to be ready to be listed, which I'm very happy about. But we'll get more into that at the last part of today's show. As usual, we break the show up into 3 parts. The first part, we look at our gross numbers for the last week across all of our platforms, and then kind of break down some of those costs, shipping costs, fees, and most importantly, cost of goods. And middle part of our show, we look at some sales highlights. We did skip our show last week because we are slackers and we just decided we didn't feel like...
I didn't feel like it. It was me. Usually it's Katy.
Yeah, she was like... and I was like, okay, I'll just work. So I looked at my sales highlights for the last 2 weeks. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I added a couple that were over a week old.
Yeah, and then the last part of our show, we talk about the goals that we set last time, how it's gone the last couple of weeks, and then talk about what we're trying to do moving forward, and see, did we succeed? Did we fail miserably? We'll see how that goes. I will say it's funny because, I've been doing pretty well on eBay pretty consistently. And then last week, the one that you guys didn't see the numbers for, it's like my eBay just completely tanked and I dropped down below 1,000. But at the same time, my Etsy and my Poshmark did really, really well. So I ended up doing like about the same, which, we always talk about how it seems like it's inevitable. It's like the unwritten rule, the law of reselling when you have multiple platforms. It's like you can't just have a good week on all of them. It's like it's always going to be like, one tanks while another one does really well. Hopefully it's not when they all do crappy at the same time.
And then they end up averaging
But
out.
I feel like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, I'm finally having an amazing week on Etsy and Poshmark, and then my eBay sucks, and so then it just averages out. So it's like you feel like, when am I going to get that time when they just all are amazing at the
When the
same time?
planets all align.
Just for 1 week, just so 1 week I could have a crazy good week of sales. But on the positive side of it, my eBay didn't do well the previous week, but I didn't have to feel the pain of it because my other platform stepped up. So whatever.
Somebody had a lot of coffee or caffeine today because she's like,
How dare you? I'm high on life. Sorry, I'm not. You're like all.
I'm cold. Rude.
You are very rude. Anyway, so let's go ahead and look at our numbers for this last week. We will start with you, Victoria. Oh, I'd also like to say the previous week, I think I hit my best numbers as far as number of items sold. I hit like 62.
Oh, and I did not get to witness it. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't get to. The people didn't get to witness it. But I'm telling you now.
The people.
Well, because we're moving towards, like, eventually, if I can hit that 70, that selling nirvana, where I sell as many items as I listed in the week. But I'm getting there. So I did 62 the week before last.
All right.
Anyway, so let's go ahead and.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm showing your numbers first. I messed it up. Anyway,
okay.
You can go ahead. You still beat me. Usually I do that when I beat you.
It wasn't too bad. It was not a terrible week for, the end of June, honestly. 34 eBay orders, 12 on Etsy. My Etsy week was very strong. 5 on Poshmark, 4 on Mercari for a total of 55. Again, I tend to do 50 to 60 sales a week, no matter how much I list. That's where I end up, 50 to 60 a week. Going out the door. 1568 on eBay, gross sales, meh, all right. 872 on Etsy, though.
Really good.
Really good. 200, just about 200 on Poshmark, and then 115 on Mercari. So my total week was 2754. Not a bad week. I'm not going to complain about that. Used to be, I wouldn't complain when it was double that. But hey, I'll take what I can get these days. My shipping overall, $224. And then you'll see the breakdown of all the other fees, all the other platforms. And then my cost of goods is always relatively low. My cost of goods was $117. And my total net sales for the week, just under $2,100 for the week. My gross average sale price stayed where I like it to be, around $50. And then my net was about $38.
Yeah, you had some nice high dollar sales.
I did.
That helps a lot with
It helps a lot because I'm accepting the really low offers too. So the nice high dollar ones have helped to balance that out a little.
I mean, I'm selling some stuff for like $15. So
am I.
Which once upon a time never ever would have happened. But
I would never sell anything for $15.
But you know what? The numbers don't lie, because anybody who's been following us regularly, if you remember like what my numbers looked like week after week after week last year, I've said this before, but I don't think I broke 1,000 on eBay at all the entire 2023. And so, I have 57 outgoing orders. Like, my volume has gone up, but so have my net sales. So even though my average sale price is dropping, it's like, this just goes to show you that, there's different ways to be successful, and it's not all about like, oh, we got to grow your ASP. Sometimes it's more about volume, and just depending on like where your strengths are, and if you can source the stuff that you need to source, and if you're able to keep that output going.
It's like I say all the time, there's a million different ways to do this business.
There is. I mean, we said that before too. It's just that we had a preference for how we did ours. And my preference was, higher average sale price, lower volume. And it's like, that's just not realistic anymore for how I'm going to be able to succeed. And it's paying off for me. So 32 eBay orders, 10 Etsy, 11 Poshmark, and then 4 between Grailed, Mercari, and Depop for a total of 57. My eBay, $1,317.07. My Etsy was an okay week at $428.52. And my Poshmark, pretty good at $383. Let me tell you, I had the same. So the week before this, I also had 11 Poshmark sales, but it was closer. It was more like $500. So Poshmark, I'm enjoying my Poshmark for sure. If I can consistently get a minimum of $1,000 a month, that's pretty awesome. 134 for Grailed, Mercari, and Depop. You know, I would say Grailed is probably my worst performer now, and once upon a time I could get over 1,000 a month on Grailed. Grailed just isn't there anymore, but I'm just going to keep it because I mean it barely takes me any time to keep on it. I will say Mercari is probably my best of these three. These are like my three bottom platforms. Depop, it's like here and there I get sales. Mercari, I'm actually getting somewhat regular sales. It's definitely improved since they made all the changes. So who knows?
I thought Depop was going to be good for me. I restarted Depop earlier this year. I had listed on Depop years ago, and then I pulled everything down because I didn't do well on it. It wasn't worth my time. Listening to a few other people that have been doing well recently, especially being able to promote the listings and things like that, I said, all right, I'll try it again. Nope, not worth it. I've had 3 sales in like 5 months, so I'm done. I'm done with Depop. It is not my platform. It is not for me.
Generally, I'm getting 1 or 2 sales a week. Whatever, but
I would accept 1 or 2 sales a week.
Yeah, but it really
3 sales in 6 months. No,
yeah, it just takes such little time for me. Whereas Mercari, it's like I consistently have like 3, 4, 5, 6 like processing orders. You know, which that's the time from when it gets bought to when it gets to them and when they rate it or whatever. Anyway, so my total $2,262.59. So not bad. Shipping $218.74. You can see all the fees there. $170 for cost of goods. So my net total sales $1,581.14. So it's all right. Gross average sale price. I would love to be able to be at 40 and above, but I can't complain. $39.69, and my net is $27.74. So you know, I feel like I'm doing pretty well, and I think, you know, we're just wrapping up the first month of the summer, and it's doing all right. I do feel like July and August are usually kind of like the slowest months historically for me. So it remains to be seen, like, what's going to happen with kind of my new way of doing things and keeping things active daily. I don't know. So far, it hasn't hit me yet as far as like the summer slowdown. So we'll see. I'm hoping. I got my fingers crossed because I would really like it to just keep going. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. What do you think?
Maybe it could.
You'll know. I don't know. I will say, like, July is going to be definitely a month that I'm buckling down because you're going to be gone for 10 days. So I'm definitely going to be like putting in a lot more work and getting a lot more listing done, but we'll see. Who knows? This is pretty good. Tattoos, Thrifting, and Coffee. I somehow got lucky and have a thrift store that gets a few loads a week and no longer sells clothes. So you get all the clothes for free.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure it is hit or miss. I mean, you just look at like any thrift store. There's like, you know, 95% of it's garbage, and then you have your gems. So I'm hoping that you get some really cool stuff.
But even for free, I'd be listing the mediocre and cheap stuff because it's free. So
yeah.
I mean, if you're getting inventory for free.
Well, and if she's not selling any of the clothes and you're getting all of it, that's the key right there. Because there was a while where Liz was getting kind of a deal where she was working with a thrift, like a nonprofit thrift store or whatever.
And she thought that was the case. She was getting
all the stuff. And then she realized, well, she knew that they were taking some of the stuff, but it was really mostly miss. And then like the one time she kind of got some good stuff, the lady like kind of freaked out and was like, "Oh, we didn't mean to give you that." And then she was like, "Well, I'm just done."
Yeah, it's not worth my time.
Because it's like, yeah, but if you're really getting like the raw donations, like that's a pretty good deal because at some point it's really going to pay off. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our sales highlights. Didn't you just get this?
I did. So this is one of the things I was going to talk about. We were just saying, like, we hardly ever go to thrift stores. So last weekend we were out, you know, Saturday's our day to kind of run errands and go do things and do like day dates and, you know, our date day. Cause we work pretty much 7 days a week. And Saturday's the day we choose not to work. So last weekend we went out.
Still thrift.
And we still thrift. Last weekend we went out and we decided to stop by a Salvation Army. And a Goodwill, and not for the whole day, but just 2 pop-ins, and we actually both ended up getting a few things. This is one of the things that I purchased. It was $10, And I just knew it was a vintage toy. I didn't look it up. I didn't, look at anything to see if it was worth it. You see the original price, $14.99, but it was 1981. I don't know what it's supposed to be. It kind of like it's got a pump and it jumps or something. I don't know. Anyway, I bought this and I came home and photographed and listed everything. I listed it. I think we bought it on a Saturday. I listed it on a Monday and it sold right away.
That's awesome.
So it sold for $70. I knew it wasn't going to sell for a ton.
Were you able to find comps?
Yeah, there were and mine was the highest priced one.
Weird.
So it was just the right place at the right time because I was expecting it at $70 to go on sale at some point and sell it for like 40 or 50. And no, it sold within 12 hours for the full price of $70. So, all right.
Very cool.
I mean, so just keep an eye. I mean, I just know Tomy is old, and I always look at, vintage toys, and it was in the box, and I was assuming it was, it was complete, and it was. So
High hopping Humdorm?
I don't know what it's supposed to be. I really don't. I honestly don't know what the hell it's supposed to be. It's just this thing that you pump up with air, and then
he hops on the ground.
It releases the air, and it makes it look like it's hopping, I think.
He's the strangest creature around.
I don't know. Whatever. It's
just
very low tech.
Just pump him up with air. He's the craziest creature that's ever been there.
He's a space pet,
but
it says.
All right.
Right? It is a strange toy. Hi, Lorna Pants.
Hi, Lorna. All right. First one for me. If you like cows, you guys know how I love my cow t-shirts.
Here we go with the damn cows.
You shut your mouth. Anyway, this is a... So I've been mentioning that I had just bought a bunch of stuff from Jen. This is from my last batch of stuff that I bought from Jen. And she's always on the lookout for some cow t-shirts because it makes me laugh.
Moo.
And so this was, I when I get stuff from her, usually I'm paying like $5 a piece. And so that was the case with this t-shirt. And I sold it for $45. I think I sent an offer out for $45 and sold it for $45. But I am, as of the last, I don't know, handful of months, I am now charging shipping. So I sold it for $45 plus $5.95 shipping.
It's making me laugh because should we tell our audience? So we've recently started doing.
Do you guys ever do like B12 shots? Well, I'm sure lots of people do B12 shots. Like when we were in New Orleans and you had a little bit too much to drink and you went and got yourself
hydrating bag. Yeah, so
we got B12 too.
We've started doing doing these weekly or bi-weekly B12 shots, and it's the type of thing that you can go to like these med spas and stuff like that, or your doctor can prescribe them for you, and you get, and they cost like $20 to $30 a pop when you go and get them. I used to get them all the time when I went to a med spa. And I always loved how much good energy it gives you. It gives you just this good, natural, extra vitamin energy. It makes you feel more energized and awake and focused and all that kind of stuff.
So I started doing research into like, okay, how do we get B12 shots? Like, can you just go get them at the pharmacy? And I think you can't. Like, I think you have to get it prescribed to be able to like go buy it at the pharmacy, which is kind of dumb because it's like freaking B12. Who cares?
It's a vitamin.
It's like whatever. It's just
not
stupid.
A controlled substance.
And
it's
so
a
I'm
vitamin.
like, okay. And then I saw people saying, well, you can get it like at the pet store, but you still have to have a prescription from your vet. And so like I had looked at like, Chewy.com and stuff like that. And it's like, they all said you had to like submit a prescription. So I'm like, well, I'm going to look on Amazon. And I found B12, like injectable B12, like a bottle of it on Amazon for like $15. And it's like $15 is like 100 shots worth. And so, and I was looking at like all the reviews and stuff like that. And the reviews were really funny because the stuff that's $15 on Amazon is for livestock. Like it says on it, like the label on it has like cows and sheep and goats. And so like all the reviews, people are saying, oh, works great for my cow. And it's like all these like funny reviews where clearly people are using it on themselves because it's literally just the same stuff that goes into a B12 shot for humans. You're doing it in livestock and everything. And so I ordered it for $15, ordered the syringes that I needed for it, and we're just doing it ourselves. But it's like $15 for 100 shots worth, or you can go into like a local med spa or whatever and pay like $30 probably minimum to get the exact same thing.
For each shot.
for each shot.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny. So all the reviews, like, it's the same concentration. You just have to do the calculation what you're supposed to be using for your weight and age or humanness versus going to a cow or something. So we've been joking about it that
that we're like that we're turning into livestock
that
now.
We grew tails and we moo occasionally as we're walking through the house. But just a little tip from maybe
we do not give medical advice here.
Yes, let me condone.
Some human livestock are known to order B12 off of Amazon and self-inject. I'm just saying.
It's
if you want to do some research.
Yeah, it's a lot like people that have purchased like penicillin. You can buy penicillin.
Fish. They call it fish mox. It's like a mox because the penicillin is amoxicillin, and so like you would buy like fish mox because it's like when you put it in like your fish tanks if you need to use antibiotics, and it's literally the same pills that come from the same factories and stuff for humans. It's just you don't need a prescription for it.
Yeah. So Laura says B12 is necessary for people on vegan diets. I'd imagine that it would be. Yeah, and Katie and I are both dieting right now as well. So not vegan. But I like my meat too much. I like the protein.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty funny.
And B12 is like one of those things that's like super safe. If hypothetically one were to order it online and self-inject, B12 is kind of one of those things where when your body has enough, like if it can't process any more of it, you just basically pee it out. So it's not. It's not.
You're not going to overdose on B12.
Yeah.
You're not going to hurt yourself.
Were someone to order B12 and self-inject. Hypothetically
speaking.
But anyway, we were doing that, so we like to joke that we are turning into cows. All right, let's go ahead and get back on track here. So that's my awesome cow t-shirt. I love it.
You're funny.
Next up for you.
Okay, so I say that I don't go to thrift stores, and the funny thing is a couple of things I'm showing did come from thrift stores. So I went out to brunch with our friend Corey like 2 weeks ago, and we decided after we got a bite that we'd stop by the thrift store and we'd go to the Goodwill that's near us. So I picked these up because they were $7.99, which usually things are way overpriced, but they were $7.99 for some pretty cool looking Vans in a good size and a good style. And these also sold. They sold for $69. Someone had sent me an offer for $69. I paid $7. They offered $69, and they sold within 48 hours. So it's another one of those like quick sales that I was like, okay. Normally, I used to buy Vans to resell all the time, cool patterns, those have kind of faded away. They don't sell as well as like Vans and Converse. I used to always buy them used. Now they've got to be really specific.
Yeah.
And those just looked pretty good. So I grabbed those and, I sold them within 24 hours for $69, which I'm pretty happy. That was actually a very decent offer based on it. So there you go.
Very nice, very nice. All right, next up for me, Full Tilt Poker.
Oh my God, I remember that.
So this is a hoodie that I found. I got it at the bins, and I was just like, one of my favorite thing about shopping at the bins is when in doubt, you just get it. It doesn't really matter because at the very least, you can sell it
$2
for
to $3 and you throw it away.
Whatever, or as long as it's in good condition or whatever, you can at least make your money back and make $5 on it. Whatever, it's pretty low risk.
That's true.
But this was like a pretty heavy hoodie, but I was like, this is cool. It's definitely, vintage. So I'm going to go ahead and just get it. And honestly, I didn't have it for very long. It was listed for like maybe a month at the most. I got it at the bins. It's a little heavier. So maybe I paid $3.50 for it. And it sold for the price you see there. It sold for $59.99 and they paid the $5.95 shipping. And so it was a great flip, but I feel like, a lot of people, and that's the thing when you're competing with the t-shirt bros at the bins, they're going to see something like this and they might recognize that this is a vintage tag, like a Y2K tag, but they're going to look at this and be like, I'm not going to be able to sell this to anybody, like whatever. Mm-hmm. And whereas I see it and I see money, potential money. So
that's why we both end up doing really well at the bins, even though there's plenty of competition.
Yeah. All right. Next up for you.
I actually got these at the bins in Dallas. So I had purchased these. There was a vintage seller there that we were talking to on our last day.
Oh, yeah.
And he had thrown these back along with a couple of other things. And I don't know why he threw them back, but he did. And there was nothing wrong with them. And I was like, yoink, I'll take those. and they weren't listed that long. I mean, maybe a month or two. And they sold for the price you see there. It was when my sale had ended. So for whatever reason, I don't know about you guys, whether you run a sales or don't run sales. I do pretty aggressive sales. Most of the time my store is on sale, one percentage or another at any given time. However, when my sales end, I've been having this flurry of activity as far as purchases at full price or purchases at higher price. So I actually kept my store off sale for like 3 days this week. And I just kept sending out aggressive offers when I had offers to send on the full priced stuff. So I did pretty well with that. And I'm not saying to always do that, but mix it up every once in a while, right? So that's what I did. So they sold for full price. They sold for $100, and I probably paid $4 or $5 for them based on the weight, because they were probably maybe 2.5 pounds or so. So $100.
Very nice, very nice. All right, next up for me is this Abercrombie and Fitch down jacket. Now, I got this in Dallas, and I almost didn't get it because I was like, it's kind of a big jacket. I think I got several, probably too many jackets there, and I'm thinking like, I gotta get this stuff down, but I have to like ship this. Like, should I even grab this? Like, we're gonna be going into the summer here. Not that matters that much, but I was just like, do I really need to get this? But I'm like, I'm gonna get it anyway. And I hadn't listed it right away. So this actually it only got listed like maybe last week.
What decade is that one? That's an odd, I've never seen that tag, I don't think.
This is like, it's not
Where
like
does it say, where is
old.
it made?
China.
Oh.
It's not like super
I just don't know that tag.
It's probably like, I don't know it exactly, but I'd say it's probably
90s.
At the very least Y2K. That's why I didn't even put
that was why I was wondering.
Decade.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I listed it, and it ended up, somebody sent me an offer for $65, and I was like, you know what? As you know, once upon a time, I would have been like, I'm selling this for $150. But, looking at the comps and stuff like that, somebody offered me $65, and I'm like, I literally paid like $5 for this. Like, the bins in Dallas are even cheaper than the bins here. So I barely paid anything for it. It's taking up room. It's going to be taking up room in the closet. So I'm just going to sell it for $65 plus $8.95 shipping and be done with it. And it is gone. It is gone. So it was a very, very quick flip. So I was happy about.
I believe this came from the bins in Dallas as well. It definitely came from the bins, but I think it was Dallas as opposed to here. And it sold, again, this was another one of those full price sales when my store was not on sale. It sold for the price you see there, $129.95. I always love to pick up the Peruvian alpaca type, the sweaters, the ponchos, the skirts. They always sell for me. This is vintage, no sizing on anything like that. It's a very hippie aesthetic. This is very festival. Somebody would have been wearing this at Woodstock. It works. So it sold for the price you see there, $129.95. I tend to throw comp pricing out the window when I'm listing things like this because you could find this cheaper, but obviously it still sold fairly quickly. So I do put a value on quality and well-made vintage items. So, yeah, $129.95 out of, maybe this was another one that cost me $4 or $5 because it is heavy and thick.
Yeah. The Dallas bins are awesome.
Yeah, we like them.
I think our bins here are great. I would say the Dallas bins are similar, but better in my opinion, only because of their size. It's a really big space. And it's like, whereas the bins here, I feel like I need to get there first thing in the morning so I can make sure I'm there for the beginning of each rotation. The Dallas bins are so big that it's like you don't even have to worry about it. Like you're going to have a chance, an opportunity to grab good stuff no matter what time of day you go. They keep the rotations going
pretty quickly.
So I loved it.
I liked the Dallas bins. I would say Dallas I liked almost as much as Colorado. And I've been to Colorado many times now.
I like the Dallas bins better than Colorado. I'm very happy with our bins here, but if I'm going to be traveling to go to another bins, that so far the Dallas is probably my favorite. All right. Next up, I've had this thing for quite a while. And
flotation survival jacket. So if Jack had this and Rose let him go, he would not have died.
Yeah, pretty much. So here's the funny thing about this jacket. I've had it forever. I might have even gotten this in Oregon, and this is one.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah, and this is one that I definitely ended and did a sell similar on because it's got
Changed
my
your
new
title.
it's got my new title. I changed this originally was my main photo. I switched it out to the bigger, like normally this is what I want my main photo to be, but I wanted it to be a little bit different. So this is my photo, and I had this so it would go on sale, the 40% off at $83.99 or whatever. And it sold at the full price when my sale. I hadn't had a chance to start a new sale again. So it was like off sale for like 2 hours, and it sold for the full price of $139.99 plus $8.95 shipping.
Sweet.
And it went to Alaska.
I feel like it's almost like these are like you paid nothing for it. When you've had
Pretty
something
much.
so long, you're like, I don't remember what I paid for it, but I've more than made my money back from that
Well,
shopping
it
trip,
was
whatever
deducted
it was.
in my taxes years ago.
Exactly.
So it's no longer I don't care about it anymore. Anyway, but I wouldn't have paid more than $10 for it. I mean, I wasn't paying up at the time.
And Cool Jacket Jim did not like that one, so he didn't
Yeah,
even
I
try to
probably
get
got
it
it
back
from-
when you were there.
I probably got it at the bins in Salem. That's true. Anyway, just and but it was nice, especially when it's something that's so old that I don't even remember where I got it or what I paid for it.
You would have taken $50.
And for sure, and to sell it for like such a good amount, I was like, yes.
So this is one that I've had for a minute. I did get this at the bins in Colorado, where their linens are super cheap, like 50 cents a pound. So this isn't old, it isn't vintage, it is Crate and Barrel though. So Crate and Barrel and Pottery Barn, I mean, that's the golden, or Anthropologie of any kind for linens. That's what you always want to get when it's not vintage linens, right? So this is one that I'd picked up. I did steal a stock photo, spank me, whatever, but it's something that's pretty hard to show what the hell it looked like without the stock photo. It just looked like a gray blob, honestly.
How much are their duvet covers new?
A lot.
Like, what's a lot?
This was probably $300 new.
Okay.
And let's face it, gray is the color. Gray and navy are the two colors that everybody wants for everything. Everybody likes neutral. We're living in a world of grayish right now. So I knew that it would sell pretty fast, and it's just a duvet cover. But I have sent offers. I've had a lot of activity on this. I've sent offers as low as $60 on it, and this is another one that sold while it was not on sale, and it sold for $139.95 plus the shipping. And I do charge for shipping. This was pretty heavy. It probably weighed about 6 pounds. It's really nicely made. Honestly, if we had a queen size bed, I probably would have put this on one of our beds. It's a nicely made item, but we don't. We have a king. And then our queen size has a beautiful soft surroundings set in the spare bedroom. But anyway, it did cost me about $12 or $13 to ship.
Okay. Not bad. All right, next up for me, this Father Yod t-shirt. Now, this is a shirt that...
the cult leader. Yeah.
This is a shirt I got from... Way to, steal my thunder, man.
I'm reading the title.
You're so rude. How dare you?
Anyway, it wasn't a secret.
This
is
from the bins. I probably had this listed for about 6 months. This is one that Jesse actually found at the bins, and he gave it to me. And I just thought it looked cool. Again, I didn't look it up or anything. I was just like, well, this looks interesting. I have no idea what it is, but it doesn't look like just a regular, typical whatever. And so I got it. And then when I went and did research, I was able to find that it was like this kind of weird cult leader of the Source family is what they were called in California. He was not one of the murdery ones.
I swear every cult comes out of California.
Yeah.
I love California, but man, all of the crazy ones, they all come out of California.
Texas had a good one.
Texas, yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so it took a little while to sell it, but it did sell for $89.99. So I was pretty happy about that. I actually showed
Father Yod is really odd.
Father Yod. He's some sort of, I don't know if that's like a cat body or what's going on there, lion body.
Weird.
But it's very interesting. So anything with kind of weird subject matter that's interesting. And I was able to find somewhat similar comps, similar shirts, but none that were this one.
So his followers are just walking around wearing shirts with this weird picture.
Well, I don't know that it's his follow. Yeah, no idea. Maybe it was just the fact. I mean, this shirt is not from when the cult was active.
When was the cult active?
I think it was 60s,
the history?
60s, 70s. I don't remember.
Okay, all right. I'm
Look
just
it
curious.
up. Do your own, do your own dang nabbing research.
I guess I got to do some research. These cults fascinate me.
All right, show what's this all about.
Okay, so I've had this one a long time. I want to say I've probably had this 3 years. Probably had this 3 years. And I had it priced up really high for a good reason. Like, let's listen. First of all, Wayne Newton's not getting any younger. We live in Vegas. He's really getting up there in age. I was waiting for this to actually sell probably when he passed away. That was why
you were just waiting for Wayne,
Wayne
to die.
I was kind of waiting.
Horrible, horrible person.
So, but I had it priced really high, and of course I would have sold it for the high price had anybody wanted it, just in case. I just didn't want to sell it too cheaply because here's the thing. These were made for staff or friends for the tour. This was not widely available.
What a weird jacket for Wayne Newton.
Well, Wayne Newton's Native American, and
It's still
in
weird.
the 80s specifically, he was doing a lot of stuff with the Native American
Okay.
style and
Fair
how he looked.
Fair enough.
So, and this is a jacket from the 80s. So you saw Wayne Newton, heard his
Yeah,
whole
that's so
history?
old, dude.
Yeah, and actually if you happen to come to Vegas and you get to catch one of his shows, he is well worth it. He's a great entertainer. I've seen him twice, and I was fascinated both times. Anyway,
I thought Rich Little was more fun.
I did get an offer for this for $160. It was already on sale, so this one did sell for $160. I had probably paid maybe $5 for it 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. All right.
I've had it for a long time, but it was cool.
Cool. All right. I got this Grateful Dead t-shirt. Now, I've had this for a couple of years now. I had bought, I think I got this when we were still at our old house. And I had bought like 13 or 15 Grateful Dead t-shirts. I think this is the very last one.
Oh, that you
all
bought
of
from
them.
our friend.
Yeah, so I think this is the very last one. I had bought like 15 t-shirts or so for an average of like $30 a piece, and I paid for it well long ago. So I've been pure profit for quite a while, but this was like the last piece that still needed to sell. And so, and I sent out offers for much lower than this on eBay, but then it finally...
Man, you could have stood outside the Sphere last month and sold this for like $500.
I doubt it. Highly doubtful. Anyway, but I sold it for $135. It's just a really cool... It's like it's from the 1990, but it's kind of like a reprint of a 70s design. But just a really cool old school Grateful Dead, like pre all the
Liquid blue stuff.
So just a really cool shirt. $135.
Not bad.
Yeah.
This is one that I'm going to talk about. I've actually talked about this type of style before. These 3D Halloween sweaters. It doesn't matter who makes them. Half the time it's like Bobby Brooks or some crappy Kmart, Walmart brand. Doesn't matter. If you happen to find one that's made by Jack something or other, that's a better one. Or, there are certain names that are better than others. But I don't even put in the title who makes it. Who's this one? Like Tiara. Tiara makes a lot of these big gaudy sweaters. A lot of them are Christmas sweaters. When you find Halloween ones or fall ones, pick them up every time.
Awesome.
They sell all times of the year. This is like, I probably paid $2 for this at the bins, maybe $3 for this at the bins, and it didn't take very long to sell. This was probably listed for 2 or 3 months. I listed a little high, knowing it'll sell closer to the fall, or thinking it would sell closer to fall, so I didn't have to keep discounting it or whatever. But it sold for the price you see there, $79.95. Yeah, you really. That's it. I mean, really, it's cool. It's cute. I mean, it's not my style. I wouldn't wear it, but definitely pick up the Halloween ones.
Yeah. All right, next up for me, I got a couple of Mercari sales. Now this, I think, I don't know for sure, and I haven't seen Jen in the chat, but I'm sure she'll watch the show later. I think I got this in one of my bulk buys from Jennifer, in which case I paid $5 for it. If I didn't get from her, then I got it at the bins, in which case I paid more like $2 or $3. But at most I paid like $5. But I gotta say, I'm loving Mercari right now. It's not like it's a substantial amount of money I'm making on there, but when I am selling something, I'm not having to pay any fees anymore. So somebody made an offer for $43.50, and it's like I get that full $43.50. I have to pay fees on it. I don't do I do free shipping. I don't charge for shipping because I feel like they're already having to pay like a bazillion fees now, and it looks like you're checking out on DoorDash now when you buy something on Mercari.
Seriously.
And I feel like the last thing I need to do is tack on another thing they have to pay for. So for me, it's like I'm not paying that 10% anymore, so I might as well keep the shipping free.
I do the same thing.
But yeah, so I paid at most I paid $5 for this, and yeah, and I sold it for $43.50. So, I mean, I know like Mercari doesn't sell great for a lot of people, but I think it's worth trying out.
I think if you're willing to accept lower prices, both Macari and Depop work well for you. So if you're able to get your items cheap enough and you're willing to flip your items quickly at lower prices, they're both good platforms.
But I'm getting good prices on here. Like I would have probably taken like even less than this on eBay or somewhere else.
Yeah, see, and I wouldn't have even picked that up necessarily. Because Reebok just doesn't sell for me.
Yeah, and I haven't had this for very long. I've only had it for like maybe a couple of months. So Reebok overall, I would say I don't sit there and go like, oh my god, there's a vintage Reebok jacket. I don't normally do that, no. But it was a really nice sweatshirt, and again, I think I got it from Jennifer, so it was a bulk buy. Mm-hmm. But I would have gotten it at the bins too because it's a nice big graphic and it was in really good condition. So it was worth picking up.
Fair enough. This was a bins purchase. I don't normally look at books or pick up things in the bins too frequently when they're books, but this was actually happened to be with a bunch of Christmas things. It was not with the books. I picked this up when Allison was here last month, and so I paid, I think it's a soft cover book, so I paid 50 cents. That's what they charge us. And I just loved this sweet little vintage Christmas book with the pop-ups. It had a little bit of damage, as you can see on the binding, but it was more about the graphics for me. Somebody can dissect this and do a lot of things with these graphics. They'd be beautiful framed or put into collages or used for all different types of decor. And I think that's what some people do with these vintage art things. Oh, there's Allison.
Allison!
So I paid 50 cents for it. I had it listed for 2 weeks maybe. And it sold on Etsy for the price you see there, $100.
Nice.
It's just a really cute book. It had a little bit of damage. A couple little things inside the pop-ups didn't quite move the way they were supposed to. You know, kids always rip and break this crap. This was in much better condition than I expected. And it sold quickly.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, people junk journal. Yeah, all the things like that. I mean, I can't imagine someone's going to pay $100 to junk journal, but I think that they could repurpose many of these pages it's not a collector, they could repurchase many of these pages in different ways with frames and artwork in some way. But
yeah, for sure. All right, my other Mercari sale I wanted to highlight was this awesome psychedelic Alaska t-shirt.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
I got this in Dallas. So again, Mercari.
Harlan!
50. What's up, Harlan? I sold this t-shirt on Mercari for $58. Again, no fees. $58 is what I sold it for. I'm sure I sent out offers on eBay I went down probably to $40. So $58, not paying any fees. I got this t-shirt in Dallas. And this is, gotten this shirt or a shirt very similar to this, before. I love these. I love Rachel art tees. He's just an artist that does this kind of stuff. And, so, you know, and there are people who collect stuff by, you know, different artists like him. So this is just like a really, really cool piece. And I got it at the bins in Dallas. So I paid like, you know, less than $1 for it. And sold it for $58. And I know there's a lot of people who would just pass this by or wouldn't realize.
Oh, I would have grabbed it. It's a cool
or
graphic.
Would sell it for $10 and not think that it is worth more. I'm definitely going lower on a lot of my prices, but actually I didn't get this in Dallas. This is old. This is older than that because my title is not correct for that. So, but I know I haven't had it for too long. I've only had it for maybe within the last 6 months. So.
All right, so this was just listed this week. I did get a bunch of vintage cameras from my friend Carrie when I was in Rhode Island, and I didn't pay anything for them. So I got this one and I think 4 or 5 others. They're not like super high-end expensive cameras, but when you describe them properly and use the right keywords, did I test it? No, I did not. They all came from a collector. I sell a lot of electronics that are not testable as working. and I have, knock on something, have yet to have somebody come back to me and say that it doesn't work. If they ever did, I would give them a refund. But I'm not going to buy 35 millimeter film and try to figure out how to use this freaking camera to see if it works.
Yeah.
When you get something that's that's clearly been taken care of, this was in the case, it was lots of these things were in cases, the person had all the manuals kept clean and nice, you're going to assume that it works.
Yeah, it probably works.
What I did was I move all the things and touch all the buttons and see, make sure everything looks good. And then I will look through the lens and look at the lens, and you can see it's very clear. It's not scratched. It's not cloudy. There's no condensation. And then I'm going to sell it that way. And I've done this for the whole 20 years I've been selling online. 20 years plus I've been selling on eBay, and I have never once tested this type of electronic item because it's not necessary when you find it from a good source.
And the reality is, the risk that you're running is that they're going to use it, and if it doesn't work, they're going to want it to return it.
Right.
And then you're going to take
it. And I'll take the return. So this sold within 2 or 3 days of it being listed. It sold for, Lorna will know because Lorna's been doing some cross-posting for me. I don't count puzzle pieces either.
Listen here, Laura. There's no reason to, because they would never be the right amount. The only way to know what the puzzle is to actually put it together before you sell it.
Correct, because it's an average number. Anyway, so sold for $129.95. I had it listed for like 2 or 3 days, and that's going to be shipping out tomorrow. It sold yesterday.
Very nice, very nice. All right, next up for me, my Depop's been pretty pathetic, but I did have one fun sale, selling Christmas stuff in the summertime. Look at Santa Claus. Look at Kitty Cat Santa.
Stupid.
I'm sorry that you don't appreciate taking joy in life, Victoria.
I don't. Apparently I don't.
Anyway, this is just a long sleeve t-shirt, and I sold it for the price you see there. I'm pretty sure I got this at the bins. So maybe I paid like $2 for it. But come on. It's just a fun little Depop sale. A little Christmas time Depop sale. Next for you. All right, what's this?
These actually came from the bins in Colorado. Allie found these for me. Allie Roots found these for me, and she's really good when you go bin shopping with her to find things for other people or for herself, because she does not.
She doesn't really source to resell.
She sources to be like, oh, this looks like something you'd want to sell, or she sources like, oh, this looks like something I'd want to wear. So she's a lot of fun to go sourcing with. So she actually sourced these and handed them to me, and I did take an offer and sold these for $300. So I've had these listed for, I guess we went in October, so I probably had these listed for 6 months or so, maybe a little longer. I knew they'd have to wait for the right
You got these in Colorado or in Dallas?
Colorado.
Okay.
Colorado. So they sold for $300.
Yep. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Next up for me, look at how cute this is.
That's cute.
So I got this. So this is like, this is the kind of stuff that I will grab at the bids. I got this. It had a little bit of discoloration, and let me tell you guys, I bleached this, even though it's like beaded, and it's like, would you call this like cross stitch?
It looks like beaded cross stitch, yeah.
It's got like some beading on it and cross stitch and stuff. And so some people would be like, oh, I can't bleach this because I'm going to ruin it. And you know what? Occasionally it does ruin it. There have been times when I have bleached something and it did ruin it. But more than 9 out of 10 times, it doesn't.
And you can't sell it without bleaching it a lot. Like when you resort to bleaching something, usually, and you think it's questionable, it's either I'm going to bleach it and take a chance to sell it, or I'm tossing it because it's not worth selling without it.
Right. So generally I will just take a chance on it and be like, man, we'll see what happens. And it came out looking great, and I thought it was freaking adorable, and it still had like, I think, a little bit of a spot. As you can see, a little bit.
A little faded yellow.
Very, very faded. But I sold it for $50 on Poshmark. I love me some Poshmark, let me tell you. Poshmark's probably one of my favorite platforms now to sell on, just because they give me a label, and it's really easy to print their label, and I get to use post office envelopes, and I love it. It's great.
It's easier.
Whoever
thought Katie would be an adoring posh twat?
You know what? I am very proud to be a posh twat, and I just want to shout my posh twattiness from the rooftop. From the mountaintops, all that stuff.
Hey, Bill, good to see you in the chat.
What's happening, Bill? Anyway, I was very happy about that one.
Okay, so this one actually sold in spite of the fact that the title was wrong because that brand is not what it is. I don't know why I didn't catch it. I have sold this brand more than once, but I must have just gone with a draft that one of my listers did for me at some point. It's ANIS, Anis A. And it does kind of look like ANEA, so I get why they did that. I can't remember if this was Crystal, if this was someone else, but whoever worked for me at the time, that I didn't catch it, and I listed it just like that. Now, I love this sweater. I actually had it listed pretty high because I'm like, it's kind of my style.
Yeah.
So I had never worn it though, and it sold on Posh for $67. This was definitely a bins buy. I probably paid $3 for it.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Very nice. All right, last one. This is another. I've actually had this for a little while now. I think I got this at the bins.
I think you did too, because I remember this one.
I've had it for a while. I've had it definitely for over a year, I'd say. And I'm sure I've relisted it by now on eBay for a lower price, but I still had it at my higher price over on the old Poshmark. But it's such a cool sweatshirt, and it's got like this kind of, what do they call this? Chenille or...
It's like a chenille. It's like a loop knit. It's kind of like what you find on like Letterman's jackets and stuff.
So it's just really cool. It has like a little bit of discoloration, some light spots, as I say, some light spots in the front.
It's funky though.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I love it.
I used to have so many clothes with that tag, that energy tag from the 80s and the 90s. Oh my god, that was because it was cheap. That was a cheap brand that was sold at like, I don't even know where the hell it was sold, but
this one's just extra cool, and I sold it for $75. Woot woot. So
good sale.
Yeah.
Julia, we are freezing here. I'm going to say that we live in Vegas. I don't know if you're aware, but we live in Vegas. It is 108 degrees right now. And we have the AC set so cold that I'm freezing. It's not, we keep it at 72, but sometimes it's just, the house is a 3,700 square feet house. So
certain rooms get real cold.
It's not uniform.
Yeah. And then like I was taking pictures earlier, so it's like I have to keep it extra cool because I'm going to head out here. I keep it extra cool because it's like when you're just kind of being active.
Well, and the lights are hot.
Because then I'll go in my office to go list after this, and I'll probably be freezing. So I'll probably change it so it's not quite so chilly.
Yeah. So Dawn, it's funny that you say that. I was actually just going to say, do you use the new listing assistant tool on List Perfectly that uses the AI? Now, you guys know, those of you that watched us for a long time know that we've both been using List Perfectly for 5 years. It'll be 5 years in August since they launched, and we've been using them since day one. I will say that I have been using the new AI tool. What I'm going to say about it is this. First of all, I think it's fantastic. It really depends on what you're selling. And I haven't said this about a lot of things that have come out because, listen, the product has evolved over the years and it's done a lot of great things and it's done a lot of things that I don't really need it. I don't use it. So it is what it is, right? But the new listing assistant tool, Express Lister with the AI that works, it's kind of brilliant. I don't know.
It depends on what you're listing. So what are the things
can you let me talk about that? So she hasn't tried it yet. So
no, I won't though.
And she probably won't. But AI in and of itself is fairly problematic, and I won't get into that and how many reasons why. I think we all know why it's a little frightening. But AI in the case of reselling, eBay's AI listing tool where you can make these big, long, flowery descriptions is pure shit, in my opinion. Total garbage, totally very flowery, way too much. You don't need it. Buyers aren't going to read it. Half the time it's inaccurate. It's repetitive. It sounds awful, looks awful. And when you find a listing, you know exactly who's used it because nobody's coming up with this BS on their own, right?
Yeah, BS.
What I will say is that List Perfectly is entirely different. The AI system that they're using is not the same one. Whichever one that they've contracted with or helped develop or whatever company developed it, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. But whatever they're using is really, really good. If you sell anything that has a SKU, if you sell anything that is a hard good type of item, plush, shoes, electronics, I don't care what it is. If you sell anything that has a SKU, if you sell something that is new that you can scan a barcode on or that has a barcode, I'm going to say it is really freaking good. I use it for everything that is not clothing related. I've been able to use it a little bit on clothing. I will say it's not quite there for clothing yet, at least not for vintage clothing. And I don't know that it ever could be because there's too many variables. I can't have it scan a photo of a vintage dress from 1950s and tell me that it's a vintage dress from 1950s and who made it and what the size is and what the measurements are. It's just the AI is not that smart, right? Because there's too many variables and there's nothing for it to really find. So for what I sell, that portion is not going to work properly or correctly. But for everything else, the cameras, all that type of stuff, that was where you get to choose what type of description you want it to use. You can do one that's flowery. You can do one that's telling a story. You can tell one that's funny. You can choose it just the facts. You can do vintage and antique. And it creates the narrative and the description for you. And the title, the description, it checks off a lot of the item specifics already for you. And you just go in and scan it and make sure it doesn't have anything super nuts that doesn't fit. And I've changed a couple words here or there, tweaked a word here or there. It's pretty freaking brilliant, and it saves a lot of time. So depending on what you sell, if you are not using it already, if you have List Perfectly, if you have the Pro plan or higher, you should be using it. There's no reason why not, you're not. It's free right now. There's no additional charge for people that are Pro plan users opt into it. If you do not have the Pro plan and you want to upgrade, my link is down below, but it's LVPinkPeacock. That gives you 30% off the price to upgrade. I highly suggest paying for a month to upgrade and try it. If you're in the basic plan and you want to try it, it's well worth it. And if you have gone away from List Perfectly and you don't use them or haven't used them in a long time, it has changed so much. Now, they have background remover, they have all these things. But what I like the best about the AI is not just that it cuts down, and I'm not trying to make this a commercial for List Perfectly. You guys know that I rarely talk about that stuff anymore. But what I like best about it is that not only does it create this great descriptive listing for you, but it also pulls multiple keywords into the keyword category on the listing form, and that will then translate to Mercari, to Etsy, to Poshmark, and to eBay as keywords.
That's pretty cool.
Which is really important. You don't have to sit there and try and figure out all your hashtags and keywords for items every different, all the different times. I have to say I really, really like it. And I haven't watched any tutorials. I know they're out there. I haven't watched any videos. I just went in when it showed up and said, oh, this is new. I'm going to try this. Yeah. And I figured it out on my own and didn't need any help. It's really, really good.
It is pretty cool. I know for me, I don't list directly in List Perfectly. And then the other part is because of what I sell, and I have a lot of things that are repetitive. So a lot of surfing t-shirts, a lot of this kind of t-shirt, a lot of that kind of t-shirt. So for me, because I do sell similar, it's like the vast majority of like my keywords are already pre-built in there. I have a very set way that I build my titles, and it's very quick to do. So for me, it's like I'm not really interested in looking into it, but I also know that like not everybody does it like me.
I brought her into the office to show her because I was so impressed with
it looked really cool.
So, and yes, Laura, I have heard that Kat did a video. I don't watch other YouTubers, and I won't watch that video, but I have heard that it was a good video. It's a really, really good item. And Dawn, if you do a lot of media items and you're thinking of using List Perfectly or the Pro plan to cross post to other platforms, I highly recommend it. LVPinkPeacock is the code that gives you 30% off your first month.
Yeah, it's all down there below.
It also gives you 30% off your upgrade if you decide that if you're in a basic plan and you want to upgrade to a Pro plan. And just to try it out. If you use that to try it out for a month, you won't even see an increase in the price. But I guarantee the only problem is you're going to want to keep it. Yeah. It's really good. It's the best thing that they've come out with. In the 5 years that they've had this, other than creating a cross-posting tool, which they were the first to do that, this is the best change that they've made.
All right, so we're running out of time here, but let's get into our last part of our show where we talk about kind of some of our goals that we had set before and how we're doing. I've continued to get my 10 listings a day, so on that part, I'm keeping up on it. One of my goals that I had failed with in a week previous was going to Costco and getting bins. I needed more bins for my inventory room. I did successfully check that off of my list. We went to Costco. I got 6 more bins. I have not used them yet.
They're still sitting in the living
probably,
room.
Yeah, I need to bring them up, but I'm probably going to put that off until Vikki is gone, because it's just another project that I need to do that takes time away from my day when I need to be doing other stuff. So I'll probably push that off for a few more weeks until Vic is gone for her 10-day absence, and I'm going to be doing all kinds of different stuff. But I got that done. But yeah, I'm just kind of keeping on with what I've been doing, and keeping my 10 items a day. I think my goal coming up for while you were gone, I haven't been able to keep ahead of things and get stuff banked beyond just, I'm not going to work tomorrow, so I need to have an extra 10 banked. So I'm thinking like one of my big goals in the near future, is while you're gone, I'm hoping to get to where I have 100 items banked that I can keep banked, so that I will have
I haven't made it either.
Yeah.
And I need to get some stuff banked for my trip. So I need to get scheduled. I'm not going to be able to get 100 listings banked and scheduled while I'm gone before I'm gone, as well as keeping up weekly. But I hope to get, say 50, so I can have 5 new listings launch every day while I'm gone. Something's better than nothing. So I've got to work on that this week. I've got to work on getting my listings up more. I do have a bunch of items. I'm finally have my lister. Actually, I had given her a month off. She has some of my stuff, so I should be getting it back tomorrow or Tuesday. So that gives me enough for the week for me to do using those drafts. So what I'll be doing is every draft or listing that I do myself, I'll be putting in the bank for the week.
Right.
I did see those new chrome racks that holds the black and yellow bins. And Laura, we did get them at Costco while they were on sale. So that's what we use. I have probably 50 of them or so, and Katie's up there.
She uses the ones at Home Depot, and I use the ones at Costco. They're both black with yellow lids. They're both 27-gallon capacity. The difference is the Home Depot ones are slightly taller and a little bit more narrow. So you can't stack them. You have to pick one or the other.
That's
and
true.
And then stay consistent.
Their covers are a little bit different, and they stack differently.
Yeah,
because I have a couple that are not the right ones, and you can tell because they stick out and they don't stack.
Basically, the Costco ones you can't stack on top of the Home Depot ones. And so you have to you got to pick one or the other. So whichever is more convenient to you, like if you're closer to Home Depot or you're closer to Costco.
They're they're at the top of their price. They're like $9 a bin, which is very reasonable for what they are. They're the heavy duty ones.
I mean, they work great for me. All of my stuff is in those bins. I just have a small spare bedroom that is my inventory room, and I still have room to add more. So it works really. And
Barry's with me. Team Home Depot.
I think the ones at Costco are a little bit sturdier. I'm just saying. I've never had mine fall apart.
I have to be fair. I have cracked like 3 or 4 of them from moving and stacking and putting them down on the cement. The corners have cracked that I've had to replace them.
And I've not had that happen with mine at all. So I feel like they're slightly more durable plastic they're using or something. Anyway, or it's like a little bit thinner or thicker or whatever. So I think for me it's just a matter of I want to keep things going. I got to keep moving forward, and then just kind of getting ready for that time when you're going to be gone. So part of that's going to be like I need to source some more stuff. So even though I just took pictures of over 100 items, because of how I'm doing stuff now, I'm like, wow, I got over 100 items to list now, but it's like, okay, that's only going to last me 10 days. So it's like if I want to be able to get ahead of myself, I need to source a bunch more stuff. I've got a couple of ideas, but I also have to keep the prices low. I got to keep my costs low. I can't be putting out too much money, especially as we're heading into these summer months where, I don't know, my sales might tank in July and August. So
just in time for us to go to Disney World.
I know. So that's like where I'm at with July. What are your guys' plans? Let us know. We're going to be going off here pretty soon, but you can let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments down below. What's your plan for the next couple of months? Are you taking it kind of easy because it's summertime? Are you pushing harder because you're stocking up for fourth quarter? What are you doing? How are you keeping productive when it's summertime and it's nice out and kids are out of school and I don't know, whatever else is going on?
Well, for us, the summertime is like the surface of hell in Las Vegas. So to be honest with you, we spend a lot of time inside in air conditioning. Barry can attest to that from being from here the last few years, at least. It's just, this is like our winter. So for a lot of people, we're not out doing activities in this weather. It's too hot. You're either in a pool or you're in air conditioning. It's not like you're going hiking or going for walks or taking your dogs for walks. You can't do any of that. So if you're not in a pool, you are in air conditioning, and that's just all there is to it.
Yeah, we keep it toasty.
Hey, Crystal.
So
Crystal? It gets really warm in here.
Tomorrow's Canada Day, and then Thursday is America Day. I think it's Thursday. Thursday I'm assuming no post office.
Yep, no post office. We'll have some extra time to work. 4th of July, we don't have any plans. We never do.
Well,
we
have
stay
dogs.
home because of the dogs. We have 3 dogs, and the fireworks are insane here in the city.
And honestly, our dogs are relatively chill about it. It makes Grizz and Ripley didn't seem to have any issue last year. It makes Grizz and Luna a little bit nervous, but not substantially so. They're not terrified. And Grizz in this last year especially has really lost a lot of her hearing, so I don't even know if she'll be able to hear the majority of it. So they're not huge fans of it. We can tell they're a little anxious, but we're lucky that we don't have dogs that are like freaking out like some people do. But we still don't like to not be at home and to hanging out with them, so that we kind of keep
it's
them
Nami's
chill.
birthday weekend, so that next weekend, Crystal, I hope she has a happy birthday. Yeah, we don't do a lot. We always stay home on the 4th of July. We may go out a little bit during the day. Sometimes we'll go and, check out one of the local casinos or something like that. But we stay home. It is what it is. I'm getting to the point where I don't even want to go anywhere anymore. We travel a lot, so I love the travel part. But when we're not traveling, we're pretty much home.
Yeah, we don't want to go nowhere.
Oh, July 2nd. Oh, yeah, so she's coming up.
And it's Patty's birthday month.
Patty's birthday, and Lorna's birthday is this month too.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and sign off. We got to go get a little snicky snack, and then I need to do some listing. I have no listings banked right now, so I have to do at the very minimum my 10 listings for the day, at the bare minimum. So I got to get that done. Don't have a choice about it. But otherwise, we're gonna go have like a mid-afternoon lunch, dinner.
Barry said I gave up making excuses why I like to stay home. Listen, I like my house. All my stuff is here. I have no excuses to make. I like my house. I like my wife. I like to be home.
While
like my
Vicky's
dogs.
gone for 10 days, I'm going to do my best to not see anyone, talk to anyone. If I can get away, I'm hoping that I can get the stuff sourced that I need to source beforehand, so I don't even need to go to the bins. I'm going to see if I can do a 10-day hermit, like full-on hermit working, just hanging out with the dogs.
So we're just gonna come home and you're just gonna look like
I'm gonna have a
Grizzly
beard.
Adams.
I'm gonna have a beard this long.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm just gonna stick to myself. I'm gonna see if maybe I'll treat it as like a silent retreat at home.
Are you having a sabbatical?
Where I just don't talk to anybody. Because I'm not going to be, I'll be able to, except for when I'm on the phone with you.
Lorna says, I'll call you on day 4. There you go. There's an hour. All right, guys. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your 4th of July plans. Hopefully you got a cookout, get some good hot dogs and hamburgers somewhere, and stay cool.
Hot dog, get your hot dog.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.